ಗುರುಗಳನ್ನು ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ.
ಹೌದು,
ಅರ್ಥ ಆದಾಗ ನಿನಗೆ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇದಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಟ್ರೂ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟವರು ಏನು ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ರಾಮತೀರ್ಥರು ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಪಂಥಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದವರಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದು.
ನೀನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊ ಅಂತ, ಆಸ್ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಸ್ ವಿವೇಕಾನಂದ ಅಂತೆ.
ರೈಟ್.
For us, tarka is a very important, debate is a very important part of it. See, there would be no debate if you are just aligning yourself completely. How there will be a debate? Only when you are thinking and when you think that there could be an alternative explanation, that is when you have an difference of opinion, and the difference of opinion allows you the debate. And tarka is a very important part of the way we have moved forward. If you look
yeah, correct.
That is why there have been so many things that have happened here. I mean, because we are doing the tarka, and at times you will start to have in that Shishya Parampara only, you will have a lot of people who will align themselves to that alternate thinking, and then they will move out. That is how the whole division takes. Even see, if you take Advaita and Dvaita also, Advaita was what everybody was following. And all of a sudden that this one started, that debate started, that it can't be like that. How can you say world is not real and things like that? And there were a few people who accepted that thought process, and Madhvacharya was good, meaning was good enough to record that or start to put, meaning insistently or consistently moving towards that. Then he had his own Shishya Parampara, and then that whole thing moved. If you go a little bit 3,000 steps, 3,000 feet on the top and see how this all could have happened. They all start together and then they branch out.
Yeah, that's correct. That is very correct.
And that happens only because of this tarka, possibility of tarka.
Yes. 100%. Okay, so coming to the next section, it is about we are going to look at the danger, and before that I wanted to cover one aspect which needs to be practiced. Okay, so that will help you to look at the next set of things, which is non-dual, and then getting into Samadhi, and without any imagination. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi Sthiti. So for that we need to select one of the way of doing it. So I will indicate the ways which each one of us can adopt and work it out, and then come back to this. So depending upon your mental state, depending upon your preference, you can choose. It's not that you have to choose only one. There are many ways of doing it. So let's start one by one. The first way is the householder way. That is, you remain householder and you do what is required, and then continuously be in that without having to renounce the family or renounce your belongings and all that. And that is what the Yoga Vasistha route is all about, which Rama practiced from age of 13 to he ultimately went out. So knowing very well that what is reality, and also he knew that there is no point in marrying, there is no point in accumulating. He didn't wanted the kingdom or the money or the power or position or whatever it is, but yet he remained as a householder. So that is the attachment detachment kind of a way of living, meaning for the outside world it looks attached, but for inside he is detached. So he doesn't have to prove to anyone that whether he is attached or detached, because then he knows what he is doing. So Yoga Vasistha is one thing which can be embraced by anyone, and that will take you to the liberation path, that is Nirvikalpa Samadhi route, through householder's life. This is one of the approach. Then comes role-wise alignment. So you align with the role, what you are playing, which again is what Krishna talks about, that you follow your dharma. So if you have the grahastha dharma, you follow that. If you have sannyasa dharma, you follow that. If you have kshatriya dharma, you follow that. You follow what you are having. Paradharma bhayapaha. So you don't have to go and do something else which is not part of your dharma. So again, we can be in a householder life, we can be in a job life, we can be in whatever that role demands. But everything is Brahma Yajna only. That is, it's not for me. It's only for the Brahman. So Brahman alone is working, Brahman alone is interacting, Brahman alone is doing things or not doing things. So there is no anger or pride or jealousy or this or that, because everything is Brahman. So there is no need for somebody to give up something, because that giving up something is also Brahman only. So you cannot give up Brahman being Brahman. So that's not possible. So you play the role. So in the morning you are a father, or in the mother, or brother, or sister, or you are a employee or an employer, or you are a citizen of a particular country, or whatever it is. You just do that role. And you keep on aligning the role rather than having any kind of attachment to the role. You just take it as a role, and the role always has problems. It always has challenges. And there would be comparison on the role, and you don't have to compare inside, but there would be comparison outside. So that one thing will create duality, but internally don't have duality. So this is the second way of alignment, which will take you to liberation. Then the third way of doing it, wherein my mind doesn't allow that first two kinds at all. It is not able to sustain that practice, because I am pulled by household things, I am pulled by the emotions, I am pulled by obligations, I am pulled by many other things. So in that sense, it is better that I take the third one, which is monastic life. So in this we have two Mimamsas. One is the Uttara Mimamsa and Purva Mimamsa. The one what we are covering for a long period of time is Uttara Mimamsa, which is Vedanta. So it's about investigation. In this particular case, you need to definitely become a monastic. You cannot work within the family. So approaching the next sections in a family life is not possible. If we go by this text what we are reading, as far as this text is concerned, it's not possible. As far as Bhagavad Gita or the Yoga Vasishtha is concerned, that is possible. But in this case, it's not possible. Now we might argue that no, why it is not possible, why it is possible, because here main focus is on monastic life and not on the grahastha or the householder life. So that being the case, there is a limitation. The limitation here is that we can go up to Savikalpa Samadhi. That means we can get into the realization of Brahman, but deeper experiencing of Brahman or on the other steps what he mentions might not be possible, or it might become extremely challenging to do both the things. So what is this both of the things? The both of the things here is that the maximum amount of time we should be spending on this, and a very minimal interaction should be on the family and the job, which itself becomes a challenge, because this cannot be implemented at all on a family member, meaning the next sections I'm talking about, not what we have done so far. And there are no examples, there are similes, what Shankaracharya says. So that means that we can't be talking about personal experiences also, because it doesn't really matter what experiences we are having. Yes,
Yeah, Yoga Vasishtha and Bhagavad Gita for family people, perfect. That's the reason maximum families they practice, starting from small kid up to very elderly people, because that is essence for them. But Vivekachudamani, very less number of people they read this. Reason is again understood. It is possible only if you are away from the family, because here it says completely renunciation.
correct.
Including it says you are not deha, you are not mana, nothing. So that is the root it says.
Correct.
But ultimately all this together it says that only jnanam is end goal. Jnana. Either you follow Bhagavad Gita or you follow Yoga Vasishtha or Vivekachudamani, end goal is there.
Correct.
To reach end goal, you have to be on, away from the family in all three routes. The moment you say family, you are in samsara. You are attached. Either Bhagavad Gita or Yoga Vasishtha or Viveka, end goal is same. Which means initially maximum of family part is discussed in Bhagavad Gita, family and our Varna related work. If you are Kshatriya, you have to do that. If you are Brahmana, you do this. Like that. Later on says Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. That means you have to reach end goal by leaving all that. Only thing is the in the route there are some different, I can say, Bhagavad Gita, you can be there more with the family kind of life, be pure, then go. That means you get in your lifespan maximum time to be along with the family and also achieve this spirituality. But Vivekachudamani says from today, slowly remove one after other. Here, even karma, it doesn't encourage you to do any karma. No karma, nothing. Even if you are Kshatriya or Brahmana, no karma, just leave everything. That is where you are. This is shortest route for me, or it is the hardest route also.
Right.
So my understanding, all three same, not different end goal.
No, end goal will be the same irrespective of what you take. But the thing is that how do you see, each one of us, each human being is made out of a separate temperament which is created out of vasana. So you can't apply the same rule to everyone and saying that this is what it is. So that is not.
It is maturity based, right? If you are already very matured, then if you are going to follow only one, then Bhagavad Gita may not be required. So Bhagavad Gita gives you the maturity to your mind. It gives you a lot of thought process in the mind that in a given situation for attaining the spirituality, what you need to do. That's what it says.
No.
But here, Vivekachudamani says directly leave and then go inside. It's like peeling onion and going inside. Nothingness. Finally, goal is this Vivekachudamani, onion. But other one is, it says a potato, anything you take, any vegetable, fine. Finally, you reach that nothingness or Brahman by first you understand, then leave it. Leave that. Let go.
No, but everything is for mind only. Anyway, there is nothing for the body. See,
yeah, correct. But you are treating the mind in a different way. That treatment is different. This treatment is different. Or practice.
No, it is like
Finally, doing something practice. But if I go through Bhagavad Gita, I will be practicing based on what is given there chapter wise, chapter 1 to 18. And here I will follow with whatever they are given. Perfect. Slowly, finally you are reaching meditation here. And as quick as possible, you will say, I am not body. There it doesn't say that you are not body in the beginning. It says, in your mind, you will have tumulas and try to control it.
no, the upadhi or the tumula is same in all. So it depends on the person's mentality. So it's not that which is good or which is bad. It is dependent on what the mental state is. So we need to do the choice as per the state of the mind. It's not that whether one is faster or one is slower. That again calls for comparison, which again the mind will start to go behind something which thinks that it is faster. It is not about fast or slow. It is about what is that you want to do when you are in a water current. Now, how do you want to swim to the shore? You want to swim along with all of them is one way of doing. You want to drop them off wherever they are and then you want to swim to the other shore is another way of doing it. So if you take the first one and the second one, the first and the second one talks about the people who are along with you. So you pull them along and then reach the other shore. Okay, and in the third one, what we are talking about, monastic life, you leave them wherever they are. You don't bother whether they are going to swim or they are going to drown or what is going to happen to them. You are alone all the time, meaning when the birth happened, you were alone. When the death happens, you are alone. So there's no point in holding on to something which never comes along with you. So we can then reach the other shore on our own. So you put your self effort to get to the other shore. So these are three what we have covered. Then comes the fourth one, where you do a self-surrender. This is the Bhakti Marga. So assuming that I am not able to penetrate through the 1 and 2 and not willing to become a monastic, and then I can choose the Bhakti Marga where I can see everybody as that divine, can be Rama or Krishna or whomever I believe that is. As an example, Lata is now helping her mother to see everyone as Krishna. Now let's say in her dying moment she is able to see Krishna in everything. Instead of going into the lower realm of existence, at least her mind will get established in that Krishna Loka, wherever that is. So the consciousness gets established there. So the pain of dying, which is there for everyone, in that pain, this will not come. This Krishna or Rama or Narayana or whatever will not come. So if we are in that Bhakti Marga forever, meaning to say that complete surrender to that being and seeing that being everywhere, then the death moment wouldn't be really challenging, just like what Kanakadasa did. And then he has recited a very nice saying of Isha Ninna Charana Bhajane Aseyinda Maduvenu. So that is a beautiful one which talks about how he surrendered and what happened and all that doing, and he covers all the Keshava Nama in that. So something like that, something to that extent would be the Bhakti Marga. Then we have another one which is Sankhya. This is enumeration. So you keep on analyzing everything and proper investigation, and you will find that it is only Purusha and Prakriti. And leave the Prakriti aside, and then you are Purusha. So this is the another scientific way of watchfulness, which again requires a monastic kind of thing. In the Bhakti Marga, you can be a monastic, you don't have to be a monastic, you can be a family householder, just like Purandara Dasa or some other Dasas who have been there. So it doesn't really matter whether somebody is a monastic or not. And most of the rishis are family members, so they had their wives and children and all that. And yet they were able to reach the other shore without any problem. So it doesn't matter whether somebody is a monastic or somebody is not a monastic. It depends on the mindset of the person. So that person can exactly select what he or she wants. So then we have Vaisheshika and Nyaya. This is another branch wherein you can look at debating and winning over the arguments and then experiencing whatever has been learned. Especially Vaisheshika helps in a number of ways than Bhakti or this Yoga Vasista or Bhagavad Gita, etc. It takes you much deeper into the reality. And Nyaya will complement the Vaisheshika. Then comes Yoga Darshana of Patanjali. So here again, monastic is the way of doing things, and then you establish Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So again you come into the Nirvikalpa Samadhi of what Shankara is talking. So these are the philosophies which basically are made to accept Vedas as pramana. That means these things what we just now spoke about talks as or goes with the Vedas. Veda and the Upanishad, the way of explanation, and taking that essence, these are done. So this is what is called as with Veda Pramana. So they don't dispute that Veda is wrong. So these philosophies...
One clarification I wanted, Vilas.
Yeah, sure.
Veda talks about what and Upanishad talks about what? Upanishad is what we are reading now.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
and you said that Veda doesn't talk any of these things. It is totally different.
Veda doesn't talk totally on this because...
If it is Agni Mela, it talks about Agni only.
Correct. So...
And where is the question of people, dharma, and papa, punya, and so many things we discuss, mind and all that.
That is not there.
Yeah, then how we say that we are based, our philosophy, this Upanishad is based on Veda?
That is what is said. If you look at the...
No, actually, I'm unable to really understand the day when I forgot that question. Today I suddenly remembered.
Good.
I am not able to really compare that. If I see Taittiriya Upanishad, from where I should relate to Veda then? Panchakoshas.
Agreeable. So they only say that the Veda gives some ideas and from there the Upanishad came. So when they say that Veda Pramana, what they want to say is that there is certain high level information available and from there the Upanishad were derived. Okay, and that is how they they connect both the Veda and Upanishad, even though Upanishads are totally different than the Veda.
Yes.
But that is how it is connected, and that is the reason it's called as Veda Darshanas, because it is based upon the Veda. Okay, so this is the thing all about it. Even if you look at the Purusha Sukta and the Sri Sukta and the Narayana Sukta, they then transform itself into each one of these Upanishads. So you can look at that. Let's say Purusha. So then you come into Sankhya. And how it is enumerated, it will become Vaisheshika and Nyaya and all that. So they say that, or if you go deeper, they say that yeah, it's a one-liner, but then the definition, just like what we create the epics, right, in the software world or in the product development, we create epic, and from there epic we are connecting to many features and stories and all that which are detailed. But if you read the epic one-liner, you might not know that all of this is part of that. So something similar is what is spoken about the Vedas. But actually, if you go word by word to see from the Rig and the Yajur and Sama, you will not find much of this over there in its sense, meaning in what we can say, the overall picture is not there. It's only abstract, but not what we are studying as the Taittiriya Upanishad or Aitri Upanishad or Kathopanishad and all that. It is not there.
So Veda talks about God or no? Only Prakriti?
Veda doesn't imply God or no God. In fact, there is no Shraddha ceremonies and all that. It is part of Brahmana. So it doesn't even have any one of those sections. What a general person does. It doesn't talk about...
The Yajna is part of Veda?
Yajna has been derived out of Veda, but not Yajna is exactly Veda. It only gives you an abstract view of everything. So it talks from
For human being, we are chanting Veda. Why we are chanting that Veda? What are we going to get by chanting? It is from one person to other person, from the Drishtaras. So it is just moved from one person to other person verbally, and now it is in the text way. It is available in Sanskrit, captured.
Correct.
What is that? What is that means? Knowledge means.
No,
If I am Rigvedi by birth, okay, what is that for me if I am from Rigveda? What did I learn? Why should I do that?
no, that is correct. So we can take this up sometime later. So
Okay.
I understand. If you go through the Yajur, Sama and Rik, you have no information of any one of these, actually speaking. If you were to go through the hymns, yeah, they're very beautiful hymns, but other than that, they don't provide anything else other than that. Okay, anyway, so let's park it aside. So these darshanas are part of Veda. Okay, on another ground, when the refutation happened, meaning to say that what does the Veda teach? When that happened, and then it was not substantiated in the Vedas but were substantiated through Upanishad, and that is the reason why Buddha and Jinnah, they came out of Vedic principles or accepting Veda as a pramana, because there was nothing as a pramana there. Okay, there is nothing to say that this is derived from that, so they came out of it. So then you have other two philosophies, which is Jain and Buddha, where one can reach the ultimate. So we have 6 darshanas plus bhakti as 7, plus 2 from the non-Veda agreeables, meaning to say that Veda pramana is not the pramana. So that is Buddha and Jain. So these are the things what we have. Now, in our life, we need to choose which one we want at this stage, because we are in Savikalpa Samadhi now. All of this, what we have covered so far, talks about Savikalpa Samadhi, wherein the ego is reduced or removed or whatever it is, so that we are ready for the Nirvikalpa. So we need to now select, based upon our mentality, whether you want to go by the Rama way or the Krishna way or the Buddha way, or you want to go by Jain, or you want to go by Vaisheshika or Nyaya or whatever, or Sankhya or Bhakti or whatever, and you have to stick to that, meaning we all have to stick to that one thing we want to follow out of these. If by chance we keep on shifting between this and that and all that, it is not going to work out, because they all are different things, but the ultimate goal is same, but they arrive from a different way. And what works in Yoga Vasistha will not exactly work in Bhagavad Gita. So let's say I next start on Yoga Vasistha, and that will be good to listen, but it will be very difficult to practice, because my mind might not be able to experience anything out of Yoga Vasistha, even though I want to remain as a householder doing the normal things and I want to become Rama, let's say. Might happen, might not happen, but then I have to start as though Yoga Vasistha, as though Vasistha is talking to me and is telling me what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so basically that is what we need to take. And then if we are talking about Bhagavad Gita, we need to implement Bhagavad Gita by role, and like that. So we want to go by Bhakti Marga. Okay, we are good with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or we are good with any of the Dasa Sahityas, and then fine, that's absolutely fair. But you have to see Krishna or whomever you create Savikalpa and then be that, including if you look at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or anybody else. So we need to emulate that and then do it. So the choices are 9 of them totally, or rather 7 plus 3, 2, 9, 9 of them. Which one you want to choose, you can choose. So if you are choosing that, now what is that will be covered, I will tell you, or what we started covering. So we started looking at removal of the ego by removing the superimpositions and etc., which is purely from monastic perspective. So it might conflict when we look from a family householder's perspective, because that might not be the state. So we need to work it out on an alternative path for that section only. For let's say I want to remove the ego, then I can choose the Bhakti Marga, because then I can do a self-surrender to that deity, or to whomever I want to surrender, or I want to surrender to myself, let's say the internal God or whatever I want to call. But by now we should have had that, meaning there is no ego. In whichever way, fashion, we are arriving to this point, whether we are arriving from the Yoga Vasistha or Bhagavad Gita or Bhakti Marga or by Shankara or by whatever method, or even by Madhvacharya, whatever that is. Otherwise it becomes duality. The next section, what Shankara is going to talk about, is the danger of duality. That is Brahman Satya, Jagat Satya. That is the most dangerous thing to ever get into, because that doesn't lead to liberation. And if we go by Madhva, he says that yes, that doesn't lead to liberation, because only Sri Hari can give liberation. So we are stuck at 320th verse now. So I have not started 320 for that reason only, because now we have to decide whether we are dualist, or we are Advaithi, or whether we are on Bhakti, or whether we are looking at only Kamya Karma, or we want to have Nishkama Karma, or whatever we want to do. And then it helps to get into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So the next section we will be talking about is how to become an Advaithi. So that will be from 330th verse to 341 verse, talks about becoming an Advaithi. So mandatorily we should have experienced Advaita, meaning there shouldn't be even a single instance of Dvaita being there. That is Brahman Satya and Jagat Satya. That shouldn't be there. If at all there is even a residue of Brahman Satya, Jagat Satya, the section starting from Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a waste of time, because it has no examples, because you have to self-experiment it and you have to see for yourself whether that shloka makes sense to you or not. So one way of doing it, to continue on this, is that each one of us recite the shloka in turn. So let's say Bhatt can recite 2 shlokas, and Lata can recite 2 shloka, Padma Shri can recite 2 shloka, and I can recite 2 shloka, and look at the explanation given in the book and try to decipher from there what you are feeling right now when you explain. So if we do in that way, it helps a lot, because then it helps each one of us, rather than I only reading out the shloka and every day doing it. So what we can do is we can meet once every other day. So let's say we meet on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we can leave Tuesday and Thursday for our own preparation. So next day person can come and he can recite 2 shloka, explain the shloka from the book itself. They don't have to go out, but while they explain, they can say what their understanding is, meaning how that can be achieved. So in that way the discussion would be there, which is good for all of us, and also gives an opportunity for us to practice, because next sections are only of practice. There are no theory at all. There is absolute no theory. So if we don't put in time, and then there is no point in continuing from here. Because the part 6 from that, the first section of 7 shlokas, he gives an exam to see how far have we got into, and if you pass the exam, then the next set of things or the shlokas talk about the experience one gains in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi and how to establish the Samadhi itself. So when we meet up, we should be able to share our experience on the Samadhi and how that non-dual has happened. What was done to get that non-dual state. Is this format acceptable, or because there is no way I can keep on explaining shloka by shloka?
Yeah, what is acceptable here for me is understanding the shloka and explaining our experience.
Correct.
But I think your goal was much higher. That means you should be already in that state.
Yeah.
In that state is very something not possible at this moment, because as you mentioned in the beginning, Vivekachudamani route is nothing but you should be away from your family.
Correct.
Samsara means what? Both office as well as home.
Yes.
So that's the reason what you have understood, what you have a little bit digested, yes, that is possible to talk. But definitely we are not in that state. It is like a person who is selling the fish is talking about how to sell flowers.
Yeah.
But selling is known.
Yeah,
selling is known.
Yes, you're right. You're right on that. So another alternative approach is to read out these shlokas, two shlokas each one of us, and then we explain what we understand about that and how do we practice.
Yeah, that is very interesting for me, actually. Very interesting.
Yeah, we can do it from today. And then tomorrow Padma Shri can take up 2 shlokas and Lata can take up 2 shlokas and I can take up 2 shlokas, something like that. So in a day we would be taking, let's say, if we take 4 or 5 or 2, 4, 6, something in an even number, if we take, and we stop there, meaning if we take 2 shlokas and that takes good amount of time, then we only do 2, and next day somebody else will take another 2, and the next day another person takes another 2 or 4 or whatever it is. In that way, the ability to understand and ability to comprehend will increase, meaning you will be thinking of that, basically. And that would help all the 4 of us. This is what I feel should be done. I don't know. What do you feel, Padma Shri and Lata?
I don't know. I am not too good at that, or I don't think. I don't know. For me, it may take a few more days, a few more weeks, a few more days, or months before I am in a position where I can really tell something to the others. I don't think so. I don't think that will be working out with me. That's what I feel.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Lata, you have anything to offer?
Yeah, we can attempt and then see how it works out.
Yeah, so what we can do is to help Padma Shri, we 3 can do it, and then Padma Shri joins.
Yeah.
What do you think, Padma Shri? Would that be of advantage to you?
Yeah, I think that would be
Okay. So,
that would be a possibility. Yeah.
yeah, so we'll do this format for a month or for 2 weeks, and then maybe whenever you're ready, you can join. So one thing I can ask Padma Shri you to do is that you have the book already. So I had shared it some time ago. I can again send it, and you can just go through that. I mean, that particular section, so that it gives you during the day. If you can do it, it will be good, so that you are able to investigate yourself to see what it really says, whether it is achievable, not achievable, how to be done, and all that. Okay, so then we'll continue. But would you like to read the 320?
Yeah, shloka I can read, but I'm not in a position to break the words.
No, you don't have to break the word.
I will have a high level understanding, but some words I will have difficulties.
No, you don't have to do that. Well, I'll give you a very simple thing. You read out what the explanation is given there.
Whether that way.
Whether it is, no, for all the four of us, we don't have to say from what we understand. That is okay. But from that explanation, let us have discussion. Whatever the,
okay, I got it.
Whatever the
this is like a classroom. In the classroom, lecturers used to do that one. Na?
Yes.
You read that and then he explaining.
Yes, we can do that.
Just a minute. Give me a minute.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. Okay. This is sloka number 320, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. As for Kannada, this is Echarike and then its value, Maulya.
Yeah.
Caution and that Maulya, value. Drishyam pratitam pravilapayan san. Drishyam pratitam pravilapayan san. Sanmatra ghanam vibhavayan. Sanmatra ghanam vibhavayan. Samahitas san bahirantaram va. Samahitas san bahirantaram va. Kalam nayetha sati karma bandhe. Kalam nayetha sati karma bandhe. So, the meaning in that, in English point of view, causing the external and internal universes, which are now perceived to vanish, and mediating on the reality, the bliss embodied, one should pass one's time watchfully. If there be any residue of prarabdha work left, which means the prarabdha karma, if you have still that residue of the prarabdha karma, so then what we have to do is, so we have to understand both internal and external world. External is pancha bhuta related, internal is our own mind and all that. So when we have these two, our important the requirement in this kind of situation is let go. That means whatever happens outside, don't worry much. Same thing when you have inside thinking, chintana. Don't worry much about that also. Thought will come, but don't attach to that thought. World will change outside, don't attach. Thought will come inside, don't attach. But what is needed is samadhana. Samadhana is the only thing which is needed, And samadhana is possible for you to manage on your own. Because you have free will. Using the free will, be shanti, samadhana. Don't worry. Don't get excited. When you have samadhana chitta, the prarabdha, whatever is left in your life, so far I think based on your age, so much of prarabdha is over because prarabdha is connected with your that time. The remaining time till you have death, make sure that you are not attached to both, no chintana and similarly no outside world connection. You will be always samadhana. So that samadhana will take you to the next higher goal of your life. This is the high level understanding. I think Vilas, you can help me to break the words. Yeah.
No, what you said is correct. So there are two universes. One is an internal universe of the name and forms, what we have created, the relationship. And the external universe, what we see outside. So when we fix the awareness, so this is the same awareness what Lata experienced some time ago, that if you are aware of that, then the internal and external both will go away. It will leave only the blissful part of it. When that happens, where Lata left it and she thought that she will be able to get it again, if she had not done that, then the internal and external affairs wouldn't be there. Bahihi antaram va. They both, being watchful on that, will remove the internal and external affairs. And in the remaining time, you just watch the prarabdha pass away. Meaning you eat, you sleep, you drink, you walk, you talk, you do whatever you are doing, because that is all is part of prarabdha. So just be that. So if you are asked to go to a particular place, go to that particular place. If you are given food, eat the food. If you have to wash yourself, do all of that, which is part of prarabdha karma. So your mind is at peace. That's right. Good.
So prarabdha, is it connected closely with that time? For example, a person is living 100 years and the programming of prarabdha is throughout the 100 years it is distributed, or he can shorten his life through mind. So only 50 years he will live and he will clear all the prarabdhas, what he is supposed to do. That means he has to go through the rigorous life of prarabdha. It may be happiness or sorrow. Is it possible?
No.
Or you need that 100 years?
No, it is connected to Ayu. Prarabdha is connected to Ayu.
Oh, then this Jataka is right. Jataka says, based on your star movement, when you move from one graha to graha desha, that means it is right, correct? That science of
yes, absolutely. So the prarabdha, in terms of what problems you are going to encounter, what happiness you are going to encounter, what sorrow you are going to encounter, all of that is part of prarabdha. So don't react to the prarabdha at all.
Excellent.
Meaning you might be unhealthy, you might be healthy, you might have children, you might not have any children, you might have wife or you might not have any wife. You might have brothers or no brothers, you might have sisters or no sisters, you might have job or no job. It doesn't matter. All that is part of prarabdha. You just be watchful of that. So you don't add further called as sanchita karma and agami karma to this prarabdha. Just keep on watching. So the body pain will come.
It says what you have to do is ಪ್ರಾರಬ್ಧ ಕರ್ಮದ ಶೇಷವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತಿರುವ ದೃಶ್ಯ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನು ಲಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಸನ್ಮಾತ್ರವು ಆನಂದಪಥವು ಆದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನನ್ನೇ ಚಿಂತಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಒಳಗೂ ಹೊರಗೂ ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಚಿತ್ತದಿಂದ ಕಾಲವನ್ನು ಕಳೆ. That means Brahmana Chintane. What is Brahmana Chintane here?
Brahmana Chintane means you are created oneness. So there is no difference between you and your wife or children or people walking outside.
There is no question of wife or anybody, because the Nama and Ruma I have already dropped.
Correct. So
Nama and Rupa.
So
then what is Brahma? There, I have to do Chintana of Brahman. It says in the mind you bring Brahma.
Correct.
Brahmatva. What is that exactly Brahmatva here?
Brahmatva here is that you are not bringing any name and form. It will automatically come. The name and form will automatically. The moment your wife walks into the room, you will identify it as your wife. Instead, it should be only Brahman. So who walked into the room? Nobody. So all that which walked into the room is only 4 elements, or rather the Pancha Mahabhuta. Nobody walked in. And nobody walked out also. So the prarabdha here is that you are just exhausting that energy which is there. The body is made out of energy. So you are just passing away that without adding anything.
That is, it also says in the English version, you have to do neti neti. That is not me, that is not me.
Right.
If you do that, you will be in Brahman. For example, you see a person, your son. That time you will say neti. He is not body, he is not mind. So what I see is not the real.
Right.
So it is nati. So when you say neti 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 everywhere, will you be really reach that Brahman thinking, or you have to do some other dhyana for that?
No, by
What
now.
is dhyana in this case?
No, by now we have reached. So that is where we are today. In the earlier sections, he has spoken about how to do it. So the assumption here is that you are able to be in that awareness.
That means a person shouts at me due to any reason, I don't even worry, because worry is not there.
Yes.
If he is shouting, he himself is not there. But sound will be there, or I have to say there is no sound also?
No, sound will be there, but there is no meaning in the sound.
Vishaya is not there.
Vishaya is not there. No, see, sight will remain, but there is no Vishaya in the sight. Meaning.
So it's equivalent to oscilloscope. When I see the waveform of something, it's equivalent to that. Only sound wave I know. I don't know decoding of that.
Yes. So now let's say I'll give a very practical example. Let's say the other day we were having a debate, myself and Padma Shri and you, and let's say we were having a debate. Now the moment I identify it as Padma Shri, then what happens?
You are immediately Vishaya will make Udvega to you, depending on what other person talks.
Yes. So there would be Udvega. So I would like to win the argument.
The prashantata will go away, correct?
Exactly. So now instead.
So if you are interacting with a person where it will bring the prashantata, then is it okay?
No, you don't have to bring prashantata to him or not. You are always in prashanta.
Yes, your answer is perfect. I am always in prashantata. I have no requirement of any that person coming to me.
Exactly. If he comes to me or if she comes to me, answer to whatever best possible, and if it is not possible, accept that it is not possible and leave it.
Okay. Can I also say that whether he comes and doesn't come, no difference?
No, that is correct. See, it all boils down to that only, whether it comes or doesn't come. There is no difference in that style at all, because coming and going is not there. So the practice, we had discussed about this some time ago, is that watch yourself who is there in the room. When you move from one room to another room, there is no room at all. After you move to another room, where is the room?
Yes.
So if you practice like that, you will be able to come out of this
correct.
identification of people.
This is very interesting, because you will never get what happens outside of you.
Yes.
Outside of your body.
See, but a very simple exercise for all the 4 of us. You are sitting in one room. Be aware that you are not there in that room. Now there is no room actually.
Correct.
You imagine.
Well, I don't know. There is no concept of room.
Yes. So in the same way, if you turn your head from left to right, the object on the left are no longer there. This is another practice where it will give you seeing as only seeing, hearing as only hearing, tasting as only tasting, touching as only touching, smelling as only smelling. There is no I in that touch and smell and taste and all that. So you are in Brahman.
Okay, Vilas, it is 9:30.
Yes.
I have a meeting.
Yes. So
Tomorrow we can continue.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll continue. All right.
Okay, good.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye.
Good day to all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.